Hello.
All right, I am here with the lovely Jeri. We just closed her reverse mortgage recently, and I think you got your check yesterday.
That's right.
Hot off the presses.
Hot
Um,
off the presses.
yeah, so I wanted to speak with Jeri. She's such a wonderful person. She means a lot to me. We spent some time like working together and just like making sure this was done the right way for her. But I always feel like Jeri will be able to give myself and you, whoever's watching, some insight into why folks get reverse mortgages. So, Jeri, thank you so much for coming on here with me, and I really, really appreciate us. Besides just closing the reverse mortgage, getting to know you and becoming your friend.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so you want to know why, right?
Yeah, start me off with like what led you to
Okay.
look into a reverse.
Well, I have a very beautiful, very large house, and until the quarantine, I was able to sustain it by doing Airbnb. I met people from all over the world. I loved it. They were comfortable here. I was comfortable with them. Actually, I only didn't like one person, and he was actually from the United States, but that's beside the point. Anyway, once the quarantine set in and I couldn't have anybody here, I realized that my Social Security wasn't enough to just pay my monthly stuff and do the upkeep that a house necessarily needs. So I spoke to my financial guy, who I really don't know very well, but I trust him because he was recommended by my insurance agent, whom I adore. And I asked him about reverse mortgages based on the fact that I had read a book in the 90s called Die Broke. It was written by Tracy Pollan's father. Tracy Pollan is Michael J. Fox's wife. And her father had written this book called Die Broke when reverse mortgages were different than they are now, I think, and also when rates on savings accounts were very high. And his point was, don't think about leaving money to your heirs or leaving stuff to your heirs. Use the money that you can while you're alive and die broke. They'll take care of themselves. And it was a concept that my husband and I both thought was terrific. But here I was alone, and reverse mortgages had a very bad reputation in my book because I had tried to look into it a few years ago, and I was offered the most ridiculous amount of money for my house. It was so low that it was an insult.
Mm.
And I thought, are they kidding? You know, at any rate, I disregarded them. And once I spoke to the financial guy, he put me in touch with you. And I liked you. I liked you. I liked the sound of your voice. And I'm. It has to be a personal connection, otherwise it doesn't work for me. And you were so helpful, and you answered all my questions, whether they were dumb or not.
They weren't
And
dumb.
no, well, just, you probably get used to and tired of answering certain basic stuff over and over again. And then my son and my grandson were very concerned, maybe I was going to be taken in by some snake oil salesman or something. And so I kept them apprised of everything you told me. And at the same time, my son has a friend who's in charge of the senior law center in Philadelphia. And she was concerned because it seems that a lot of seniors don't really know what they're getting into. So she had the lawyer who knows about mortgages and reverse mortgages at her center call me and question me to make sure that I was not out of my head or out of the range of my knowledge. And yes, I know it's a loan. I understand perfectly that whoever gets the house at the end, when I pop off, it either has to be repaid or, you know, gotten rid of.
Hmm.
Very simple. And meanwhile, what this has done for me is it has bought me time because I've always kept up with the things that have to be done in a house. And now I have time. I don't have to worry about whether I can afford to stay here or whether or not I have to leave precipitously because I can no longer keep it or keep it up.
Wow. Yeah. Being able to, like what I found with you and the other folks that I've helped is adding to your income is huge. I mean, it's just necessary, but there's a set way that you live that you're used to living. And we think of retirement, they say it's like the golden years, but a lot of times it's not. It's like the bronze penny years.
Yeah.
So being able to, and I'm glad Jeff, your financial advisor, was had the wherewithal to recommend, hey, you have these assets, you have money here, money here, money here. But a lot of times people just ignore home equity.
Hmm.
And the fact that you can use, I mean, hey, I'm just the guy who helped you do this. I had nothing to do with like building the tool or anything, but being able to use this as a tool to, heck, you're going to live here anyway. So why not get that hammer out and turn some of those bricks into $100 bills? A
Right.
lot of them.
Well, the other thing is, the one thing I've always been sure of is I know the value of this house. I get 2 or 3 or 4 requests a week from, postcards and things slipped in my mail slot. Want to sell your house? I know I'm in a good neighborhood. I'm in an up and, value increasing all the time. I'm not dumb about that at all. So I always knew that this was the most valuable thing I owned. And I didn't want to just give it away, and I didn't, and all of those cards that I get are as is, well, yeah,
Oh, get out of here.
as
Yeah.
is means the lowest lowball price they can think of, and that's not what I'm willing to do.
They normally give 60% on the dollar for your house, and then they just they just think that they try to go after either people who are so down in their luck that they have to move, or they're just idiots, and it's just unfortunate that that's a business.
Well, and I feel that this is what I can leave to my grandkids, and my son. Although they don't need the house, but this is my estate, and I'm very well aware of that. And this also has an emotional element because this house was paid for by my husband's stroke, and so I don't want to disregard that. And I love the house. If I can stay here until I can no longer stay here, that's great. But it's going to be my choice, not because you know, I'm up against it. So,
Love that. I love that. It's you. You are now empowered. And it's just money. Again, money is a tool.
hmm.
This stuff is a tool, but it's a tool to empower you. And you are going to. Jerry's calling the shots now,
Yeah, yeah.
not the bank, not anybody else.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, it's great. So, and I can't thank you enough. I really mean that. If you had been a different kind of person, the answer is it wouldn't have happened. If you were not as helpful or as caring. Um,
Oh,
that's very important to me. So, you could be the worst person in the world and a great actor, but I don't think so. So there,
I mean, like Hollywood or something. Then not.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Nah, this stuff is so like it means a lot to me to take you from like where you were to where you are now. Just get it. Like when you got the check, you texted it to me. You're like, Jason, see, I got it. I'm like, no, you got it. But it's so cool because you don't know till you experience.
well, I had been to the grocery store first time out in maybe 10 days or something, and there was this FedEx envelope in the door, lying on the floor of the foyer, and I looked at it and I said, I wonder what this is. And no, could it be? And I opened it and I said, wow, this is, and then I felt numb, frankly, and then I just kept looking at it, and finally it sort of dawned on me, yeah, this really happened. Oh my God. And then my next thought was, they didn't even just deposit it. For God's sake, what did they need my account number for? So,
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. How did it? Let me ask you this. So before we did this and like going through the process, you had pretty heavy rocks on your shoulders, right?
yeah.
How did it feel to find the weight kind of float away? What's that like?
It's, I really can't tell you, you know, uh, I still have a lot of anxiety about a lot of stuff. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still an insomniac. Again, last night, middle of the night, I'm up. But it's different because now I'm thinking, should I read until my eyes get tired, or oh, I better put this on my list of stuff that I have to take care of. Um, it's different because I'm not saying, oh my God, I hope this bill isn't too much, or I have to take my car in to be inspected, or I got a ticket the other day because I had completely forgotten to register do the yearly inspection on my car because I hardly use it anymore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in to my house, in front of my house with my handicap plate, and they gave me a ticket for not having the registration. And there's
Philadelphia, baby.
and,
That's what they do in Philly.
and there's nothing you can do except pay it. But it
Mm-hmm.
before it would have been, oh my God, $41. What am I going to do? Now it was, oh, I'll pay this online. Big deal. It just feels completely different. Completely different. I've been going to the grocery store infrequently, and I must say I do buy natural food, so it's more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, $10 for that. Oh, I'm not going to get that today. Well, now it doesn't matter. I can, you know.
Yeah.
No, it's just, I'm not going to be, Gloria Vanderbilt or anything, but it just feels lighter, you know. I still am me. I'm still neurotic as hell. I'm gonna probably not sleep well most of the time, but it's a different kind of weighty stuff. Now it's just because I'm old and cranky, you know. So
You're awesome. Stop it. You don't, Jerry. I like you don't give yourself enough credit. Um, but yeah, it seems like yes, if you're going to have challenges and if you're going to worry about stuff, yeah, you're going to worry about stuff at any point in time. But we've gone from like the big picture, like, oh my God, to like, yeah, what sort of food am I going to get? This $40 parking. That's annoying. Why do they, like, I get annoyed at that stuff. Like, God, why can't they stop? But nothing big.
it's little bitty crappy things
Mm-hmm.
that plague everybody, but with people who don't have enough money, it becomes huge, and it becomes a rock sitting on your head. You know, now it doesn't matter. Again, I'm not going to be a spendthrift, but I'm going to take care of what has to be taken care of as usual, but
Mm-hmm.
without the added worry of how much is the repair guy going to cost, or I have to replace something that's due because it's now worn down, like a water heater or something. I've always taken care of that in a very timely fashion. I don't have to think about the worry that used to cause, because it's not there anymore. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So cool. That's awesome. That is like, for me, again, like it's so awesome for me to be able to see that happen with you, to see that change, and also to kick back and say like, okay, well, I kind of like helped you through that. That makes you feel like really good about yourself. And
You did, you did. And I can't tell you how many people I've told about you. I don't know anybody else in my situation because most of the people I know who are in my age group are retired teachers in New York. They do pretty well. They have great pensions and, they're okay.
Mhm.
And they own their own apartments and, they're fine. So, one of them actually was forced to buy a larger apartment because nobody wanted an apartment that big. So now she's sitting in the catbird seat saying, I don't need all this room, but I have no place to go. So, you know,
Hard problems, hard problems.
it's a big problem.
That's great. Well, I guess my last question for you, Jerry, is if somebody is considering a reverse mortgage, is there any advice that you would give them? Anything they should do?
Well, I would give them the advice that I took. I would talk to whoever is handling whatever savings you might have. If you trust that person, talk to them. That's easy because they should be in a position to know, especially if that person is, what do you call it when a financial person has to do right by you?
Oh, fiduciary.
Yeah, if that person is a fiduciary, then that's a person you can trust because they have to look out for you. It's their
Yeah.
responsibility. It's the oath that they take, you know. And also, but also, don't do it if you don't trust them. And if you don't trust them,
Yes.
why do they have your money anyway? So,
Very good point. What I find is with a lot like Jeff, he's an expert at managing money. This could be a commercial for him. He's so great. I probably know him a little bit better than you do. I know like to.
I hardly know him. I only know him through my insurance agent, and he came to my house once, which was a big plus for me because if he
Mhm.
had, I wouldn't have gone with him, you know,
Yeah.
because I needed to see him face to face before the quarantine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this whole quarantine changes things.
Yeah.
But it's like the people who I really respect are the experts who realize that they're an expert at one thing.
Hmm.
They're not an expert at this other stuff, but they've got the resources. Like him, he realized like, hey, I know about managing money. I don't have a license to do reverse mortgages. Let me call Jason, who's an expert, and so Jason can help. And then when we spoke last week, I referred you back to him because you asked me the question about the actual money that you get, and
Right.
I'm good at a 10,000-foot view, but I'm not an expert at it. So I want to surround myself with people who are that competent, and I guess I know what I don't know,
Yeah.
and I think that's an important kind of characteristic to have with any expert that you're working with. What are you good at? Stay in your lane, and then everybody else just make sure you surround yourself with really good people who care.
Well, that's the way I felt when I had my own business in New York, uh, and being in the art business, I knew what I knew, and I also knew what my clients didn't know, and I tried to help them so to keep their work safe and beautiful. That was very important. So I know exactly what you're talking about. You want people who actually know what they're doing, and I have to call Jeff and see what we do with all this money.
Yeah, he'll make sure it's safe. Like the most important thing is getting a couple points on it, making a couple dollars. It's cool, it's nice, but it's less important than keeping it safe.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
that's my my advice is
Yeah.
always like be safe as much as you can. And also you have extra in your line of credit too, which is terrific. The line of credit's growing, which is really neat. A lot of people don't know that about reverses. So
One thing I didn't know because we never discussed it, but when the notary came for the closing, I also know that if I prepay, I don't pay any penalty, you know. So, I mean, if I should do well with whatever, I'm still teaching, and I don't really have to touch much of this money, which is so nice. To take care of the upkeep of the house is really what I needed it for, and there it is. So,
yeah. It's a cool safety net. I like the fact that it's there if you need it. If you don't need it, it doesn't hurt you.
right.
And yeah, you can. if you want to make a payment at any time, you can. Just the balance goes down a little bit. If you win Powerball, send us
Yeah.
a nice case of beer and, and pay the thing off.
You have to play to win, and since I don't play, it's going to be very hard to win.
That is true. True words have never been spoken. That's great, Jerry. Well, I appreciate this so much.
You're
If,
welcome.
yeah, if you're watching and you want to get in touch, if you have any questions about a reverse mortgage, you want to right
I'm
for you.
I'm going to be a pest. I will tell you that now. I regard you as a friend. Therefore, you're in my realm, whether you want to be or not.
You can tell I want to be. No, I love it. You're such an awesome person. Um, yeah, and if you're watching this, if you like information, you'd like to see, hey, does this make sense for me or not? Then you can go ahead and give me a ring. 888-3. Oh, go ahead.
And I will tell you this, if there's anybody else in a similar situation to me, I will absolutely recommend you to to the stars because you have just been so great and I appreciate it.
Oh, you're so nice. It's so cool. Like you help good people to the best of your ability, and things like this happen. So I'm so happy. All right, so just yeah, my contact information. If you're watching, it's if you want information, it's 888-309-9705. Just give me a shout. I don't know if I can help right now or not, but I'll definitely try my best. And Jeri, thank you so much for being on and sharing your experience. And like, I really think it's going to help some folks have the power, like feel empowered to investigate something that can possibly help them.
Well, you'll be great if they contact you because I love that you took me step by step and never talked down to me. I appreciate that. Okay?
Couldn't never. All right, awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay.